or real estate investor. And if there was anything that was ever impossible to do and totally messed up, that's what I bought. Because people would give them to me, you understand? People would order finance them for him, people would just sell them for next to nothing. Anything that nobody else wanted was perfect for me. And there are a whole genre of this type of real estate investor, and David epitomizes that. So, without any further ado.
Okay, everybody out there, what did you make in the stock market last year? 5, 10, 20%, you know, the past couple of years? Well, my real estate, this unit actually returns 90% return on investment. So, does that sound pretty good to y'all?
Yeah.
You know, so, but what I wanted to tell you about is, I did one before this, and my return was 25%. This one I have a 90%, and I have 2 more coming up that'll have an infinite range of return. So I'm going to show you how we go through these different steps. But this is a property we purchased, and I'm just going to give you a little brief thing. This was on MLS for 200 grand 2 years ago. And then what happens is, the person who owned it lost it, went into foreclosure, came back on MLS. Do you remember what the number was? What it came back on? Originally it was...
Well, it was originally in the 90s range,
right.
And it was on the market for a while, and then they brought it down for 70, which is set on the market for a couple months at 70. And after it had been on the market for several months at that point, David looked at it, and then we went over there and took a look at it, walked through each of the units, and after we assessed the rehab, then we decided to put in an offer.
Right. Now, Marco, he's been with me on a couple of them, and at first he wouldn't lowball as I wanted to do, but he learned from what I've been doing. I offered 45 for this one, and they came back at 47. So that was cheap, right? So let's show you a little video before and after of kind of what the process is, just so you get a visual of what they look like when we start and to what they can turn into, and then I'll give you the numbers and how it goes. Yeah, just so you know, 1 to 4 units is considered single-family property, so you can just get regular loans on them. A lot of people don't know that. Well, we can talk through it. As long as you show it. See, I look at these ugly ones. Everybody else sees these, and they kind of ignore them. But I look at the neighborhoods. That's what we look for. This is 2 doors down from a school. All the properties are really nice in this neighborhood. You know, I wouldn't have no problem with my daughter living in this area. It's actually a really nice neighborhood. It's on Logwood Street. You know, I don't know if you know where that's South and Military. It's a 4-unit. The rent's for $400 a month. When we bought it, it was 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So what I did was I brought my contractor in, Rob, and said, let's make this into 2 ones because I want to make more income. He actually figured out a way to add an extra bedroom in these units, so I get an extra $100 a month per unit. So that's an extra $400 a month for 4 units. 100 times 4 times 12. That's an extra $4,800 a year just by putting up 2 walls. This is where it shows it was $195,000 on the market. Isn't that crazy that we can get stuff? So if you don't think deals are out there, this is right on MLS. And I got this one, like I said, for $47,000. Now, your contractor gets in there. This one took a little long. Usually it takes us about a month to do one. This one took me about 2 months to do it. This is Rob, in case you know he's sitting up front here. There's Rob. He's one of our vendors, actually. He's a lifestyle contractor, which I really like the lifestyle contractors. I also use for my insurance, I use Spearhead, which is another one of our vendors, which is great. What we do is when we come in here, I fix everything. I know you're seeing it right now, it's horrible, right? Would you move in like this? Why not? Well, that's what the last owner tried to do. I bring my family to everyone. It's a family thing for me. I teach my kids about the different units and whatnot. But I really wanted you to see, because a lot of times we get up here and we talk about these, but you have no idea what the places look like. So, oh, that's my wife. Also, everybody's doing real estate investing. Don't let your wife quit right away, because you need that W-2 income so you can keep buying property. Okay? Now, just so you know overall how much I make a year on all my real estate, I'm up to 40 units now. We bring in about $90K in cash flow. So I could retire my wife already, but she loves to work, so she works for the Veterans Administration, so I let her work.
Oh, so that's Actually, I enjoy it. I'm still not ready to retire as a nurse. I love serving my vets, so, but this is perfect because, you mean I'm not loud enough?
You can wrap.
Actually, as I was saying that, I enjoy working at the VA because I feel, like I said, I love serving my veterans. But the best thing is that I'm making the income and we're just buying more property. In fact, I was at work earlier today and David called me and says, honey, we put another bid on another property. I'm like, okay. So I never really see them. He always goes, hey, guess what? We bought another property. I'm like, okay, where is it? Am I going to see it? I see it maybe half the time. I don't see it when it's like hideous or like potential. But I always come back and I'm just in awe of what I see, the outcome and what Rob, our vendor, does, and it's just phenomenal because even I would move into something. Look how beautiful it is afterwards. So it's such a transition.
So just to give you an idea, is I've developed what's called a system. I do all my properties in the same exact colors. You can have that one. All my properties in the same exact colors, so Rob can go in there and just start doing the work without me even being in there. He knows I always use warm caramel on the walls, white trim. If you keep the system down, you can be more and more hands-off. And that's what Dell teaches us. We don't want to go to these properties all the time. We want somebody to handle it. And I worked out with Rob, is Rob actually manages these properties, leases these properties for me. I'm 100% hands-off. I don't have to visit these properties. My job is to go out and find the next property, look at it, get in the contract, then I work with other investors. Kind of fast. But
well, David, mention the learning aspect of that for you, because I know when you first started, you weren't completely hands-off. In fact, you had a jackhammer.
I picked up jackhammers. My first, Dell talks about these deals, like the single family, how we're giving bad examples. My first deal, you know how much I had in my first deal?
100%.
Once I refinance it, 0%. So you can pull all your money back out if the numbers are right. So you know, I have an infinite rate of return on my first one. I followed the lifestyles model. If you ever watch the videos that they show on one of the videos, so Dell is right, that is the way to do it. Don't do what I'm doing until you get experience. You find other people to do the work, to like the work, because I don't like the work. So that's why I found Rob. And Rob actually leased up my units. But I did, I was hands-on. I was out there with a jackhammer, filling my first pool in by myself because it was too cheap to pay a guy $1,200. I know that's crazy, but that's what I did. So I've learned that I don't want to work. So I found other people to build a team that I don't have to do it anymore.
Remember, there's only two types of people, those willing to work and those willing to let them.
I'm willing to let Rob work one day, but Rob, even though he's a contractor, he wants to do the same thing as me. He wants to buy a bunch of fourplexes. He's getting experience because I taught him, how do we lease, what my criteria were, how to find people. What's really cool, I'm going to give you an example of it. I went out hunting with somebody else who was in this room, Mal. We went to this 3,200 acre farm. Well, I guess it's a ranch. We went out hunting and stuff. Well, I was going over that weekend. One of the units, somebody moved out in the middle of the night. So that would scare most of you, right? Well, I was out hunting on Saturday night. Rob, without even calling me, went in there, did a make ready. It only cost me $160 because they didn't do much damage or anything. They broke the window and that's it. And then that way it was ready because Monday the appraiser came out. So if he wouldn't have done that make ready, I would have been in trouble. So he had everything ready for me, and then he found me a renter already again. So did I lose any money even though we lost a renter? Normally say no. Well, the deposit covered more than enough for the loss there. Plus, they already paid the full month's of rent, so I didn't lose anything in that event. That's the key of having the right team behind you. So eventually, all my properties will probably be turned over to Rob, and I'll let him handle them because the whole goal of everything we do here is go to the next level, which is 100, 200 unit complexes. Bring in a bunch of investors, we buy it together, and then we have a management team that handles it. So you have to learn that aspect of, you don't want to work when you do this. You want to find people that can do it for you. So a lot of people see these, when they see my numbers, they go, oh, I'm going to do that the next day. You're going to do a lot of work if you do fourplexes. That's why we don't teach about fourplexes, because you're going to be visiting a lot, dealing with the renters. So it's kind of a headache. So I don't tell new investors to buy these. Buy single family and then jump up to multifamily if you can.
Hope he gets a raise. But questions. You talked about turning it from a one bedroom to a two bedroom. So it was before that was a 4-unit with one bedroom.
One bedroom, one bath each, and we turned it into 4-unit with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath each.
You're renting it by the bedroom?
Well, a 1 bedroom would rent for $400.
The question was, how did you turn it from a 1 bedroom into a 2 bedroom apartment for each of the 4 apartments?
Well, how many square feet was it to start with?
I think they were about 650, 630. So they're small, but in that neighborhood, that's how big they are.
So the 2 bedrooms are renting higher. That's what you're saying.
Right. So all I did by putting up two walls, I increased my rents by $100 just for doing that. In fact, we only gave the people 6 months leases on this, we only do 1 year. And the reason for that is, I wanted to go from 0 occupancy to 4 units filled within a month. So I'd rent slow. We're gonna bump our rents up another $25 a month in 6 months. We already told the tenants that's gonna happen. So they know that, so my numbers are gonna change.
The other powerful thing about having a 1 bedroom compared to, or a 2 bedroom compared to a 1 bedroom is the ability to get families as renters. And when you get families into your units, you know, they're going to stay longer. Typically, you know, they're going to consider that home instead of just getting, you know, a single person like myself who might not stay for a long period of time. So
yeah, let me tell you about the numbers. Put them up, Marco. Why do you have these weird numbers?
David, where's the other
Lifestyle
stuff?
numbers.
I don't know.
This isn't what we do. We normally do.
I apologize. The person that usually does this presentation has quit just recently to go on and buy real estate themselves and be a real estate investor. So the presentation is set up with verbiage that none of us have seen. That's why we're here. Yeah, I agree. I don't have any idea what these words mean, but go with it.
Okay. Where am I showing?
Oh, I got the back. Okay, just, I don't know what numbers these are, so I'm gonna use
Make
mine.
your own
Ready?
numbers up.
You ready? Here we go. I purchased it for 43,000. 47,000. Our rehab cost me 23,000. So that there is 70,000. But I had to use a loan. I used hard money up front. Then on the back end, I went into a conventional loan. The problem is fourplexes, you can't get comps and all that. So my hard money lender made me put up money because nobody's been doing these at all. And he said because of my track record, he trusted me enough that he was going to do it with me. So I ended up paying, I think it was 18,766 of my own money in this deal. That's a lot of money to put in a deal. But this rents for $2,000 a month, 500 times 4, and our expenses are, how much is my loan?
You see, a true real estate investor really doesn't know any of this crap.
What's that?
That's not really our job to know all that stuff. Our job is to find the deal, make the deal happen, and make a lot of money, and let somebody else take care of all that stuff.
We'll see. It's
Besides that, I
589.
didn't go to college, so I can't count anyway, right?
My numbers all together is 589. We're going to round it up to 600 to make it simple for you guys. So my cash flow each month is 1,400.
I think you need a new pen.
Yeah,
Invest.
that one's not good.
They're free.
So I'm making $1,400 a month cash flow. Does that sound good? Not bad, right? So a year, how much is that?
16,000.
I need somebody else to do math. 16,800. So I'm making 17 grand a year on this property.
On 18,000.
On 18,000. You know what that rate of return is?
93%. There's actually a number right there that I didn't recognize.
We know that one. Okay. Does that make sense?
93%.
How many
We
people
got
make
it.
a 90% return? Is that not truly awesome?
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
So that means what I learned, because I screwed up my first one, I bought it all cash. Numbers are pretty similar. I think I ended up paying 80 grand for that one cash. My rate of return was 25%. Why? Because I bought it all cash. I didn't leverage my money. So that's why Del teaches to leverage money. So what did I do? I go from this 25%. I said, hey, I now bought this one and I'm making 90%. Now how's my next two deals, which I have lined up, going to be an infinite rate of return? Anybody guess? Now how do you do with no money out of pocket? The next thing we learn to do here. We find other people, partners, right? I have a track record with these people. So my next two deals, I'm going to share with my partners, and I'm going to have zero into these deals of my own money. They're putting up the money. You see how that works? So when you're in this group, you grow. You know, I have 40 units now, and I'm clearing about 90 grand right now. So, and I've been in a whole 2 years. So all of you in this room can do it. I'm just a regular guy, stay-at-home dad. Question?
Guys, can you imagine 2 years from now being able to retire, making 90 grand a year of tax-free income? 2.5 years after I started, I retired at 34 years of age. This concept that you got to work for the rest of your life is just bull. You just got to go out and do this stuff. We'll open up for questions now.
your PITI is 600?
Yep.
What's the county have this assessed at?
Well, I'm gonna get that down, but right now I'm paying about $2,000 a year in taxes on this one.
You're gonna go down?
Of course. You always
find
pay your
our
taxes.
We find assessments every single year on every single property.
Exactly.
And when you buy that at $47,000, you know, it has, you go back in there and you refinance it at $70,000, they've got to bring that assessment down. They've got no other comps to compare it to.
Now, I don't talk about equity cash because I don't really care on this. I'm buying this just for cash flow.
See,
That's
now,
what they-
listen to what he's saying, this is interesting, because I can teach by example. I told you when I first started out, all I cared about is I didn't want to lose any more money in the stock market. Rule number one, don't lose money, right? Make money going into the deal. Next thing I learned is if I ever wanted to retire, I had to have cash flow. All he cares about right now is cash flow. Why? He's trying to sustain his family's income, right? But then, after I had enough cash flow to survive, I realized one day I woke up and go, I'm not a multi-zillionaire, right? How do you become a multi-zillionaire? Not by just buying cash flow. Eventually, you got to buy massive pieces of equity. Does that make sense? So that's the next step, and they'll go there next. As he's saying, he's getting ready to do that. But I want you just to see that what I put up there in the board called the natural progression of a real estate investor. This is what people mentally go through. First of all, how can I get out of my job? I need cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. In fact, when I first started this company and I was getting up there speaking, I was in the same position he's in, you know, making, you know, 90 grand a year. It was all cash flow. I had all kinds of crummy, ugly properties, and people would, you know, appreciate the fact that I just was trying to get out of my job. So a lady actually made me a shirt. She stenciled the shirt, and the shirt said, "It's the cash flow, stupid." Because that's all you care about when you're trying to retire, right? So later on, you worry about trying to buy a house like I showed you tonight, you got to make $1 million shy. So, questions, open up.
Two questions really. How'd you find the property?
It was on MLS, and my agent Marco, he sets up searches for me. So every morning at 8 in the morning, I get like 30 things in that I get to look through that on my parameters. He custom sets them up for me, and I go through and pick them off. And I'm on the phone at 9 o'clock bugging these guys because I want them to put in offers. He just put an offer in on a fourplex for me Friday, and another fourplex I had Jim put in today. So they're out there, people. They are.
And second question is, you did hard money front end. What'd you do on the back end?
It's conventional. I'm paying a high interest rate on this one. I'm kind of upset because I'm paying 5.5%. You know, because my other ones are paying like 5 and 5 1/4. So interest rates are raising.
And how did you overcome the appraisal issue?
Well, actually, the appraiser came in, not my appraiser, the bank's appraiser, and they said this is worth $90K, which is really low, but I'm not going to complain because according to me, I have $80K into it. So that's why the numbers came out. They couldn't give me cash back or anything like that.
So Dave, I have to share this with you.
Yeah.
Other than the hair.
Oh, you know why my hair is this color, first off? It's called integrity. See, my daughter, 2 years ago, made a bet with me. She said, she remembered it. I didn't think she remembered it, because she's a senior this year. And I said, you can dye my hair whatever color you want if I don't have within 2 years 50 doors of property. I only got 40, so I'm kind of a failure. But I got to dye her hair if I got 50 doors. So I was trying to buy 16-plex really bad, like 2 months ago. And you want to see a funny picture? This is 2 years ago. Can you see that picture? My wife and Dell, April of 2 years ago, we were at our 2-day, and I said, let's get a picture with Dell, because we'll retire in 2 years. Looks a lot better, though, doesn't it, than when we started? There you go. There's Dell, my wife. So that was a happy moment for us. She had braces back then, by the way.
It really changed our life. I mean, you know, for me, I always say it's so surreal to see our picture up behind there. Because just the same day that we did our case study and we were, wow, I can't wait. You know, I was still active duty in the Air Force and like, I don't know how we're going to do this. Things just panned out and God, you know what? I know we're going to get our faces on those walls. And just with their guidance and their education and truly, I mean, all their knowledge is, they're sharing their wealth of knowledge, and that really made an impact on us, and we just pursued it. And you guys got to make that step, and that's really what counts too.
And you come back and you share your experience with others. It's funny because now that I've been here 2 years, everybody's asking me questions all the time, and I'm going to lunch with everybody. I'm going to dinner afterwards. People want to do it. I love when people are excited and want to do it. The most exciting deal for me isn't the guy who bought 20 houses. It's the person that bought that first house. They took that step. That's the hardest thing, is to buy that first one. That's what I want each of you out there to do. Go buy that first one. Don't worry about the 5th or the 10th. It's that first one. You have to get in the game, you have to do it. There's a lot of it. The real way to do it is single family. Get that big equity capture. Buy a couple of them and then go bigger. It's just, I'm happy with this, but the point is I really want to get into something bigger. I don't have a lot of cash to work with right now. So until I sell, I bought a 29 unit. When I sell that, I'm going to get a big chunk of equity capture. What do you think I'm doing? I'm buying 100 or 200 unit. I'm not playing around with this little stuff. I've learned how to progress to be bigger. It's just, this is what I have to do in the meantime.
So
I'm a little stuck.
So in answer to the point, I actually had 5 fourplexes and 40 duplexes at one time. And it was all the same crap. Yeah.
See, so I'm doing what Dell did a long time ago,
Right.
which he yells about, but he's not yelling at me right now.
So, so the bottom line is this: since you're married, it doesn't really matter. But as a young guy, you know, when you're 30 years old and you've got like 50 units, you always try to go on a date and find a way to drive by somebody. Hey, let's just stop by and take a look while we're driving by. See what.
So any questions?
You are going into your next deal that you've got on the plate right now to help or partner with other investors, so you've got zero money into it. What's
Right.
like your...
Pretty much I'm just doing straight 50-50 deals with these people. It's just single family stuff. So these are considered single family, so we're just doing 50-50. They put up the money, I get 50%. So like say this one makes $1,400, well, we each make $700. Does that sound pretty good to you guys, you know, for a partner? They're still making a great rate of return.
So you're making 45% and doing none of the work,
Right.
which might be smarter than making 90% and doing all the work.
Yeah. It depends what position you're in, what you want to do. A lot the partners I have that want to do this, they have jobs. They don't have time to do this, but they know I do.
So I had a question over this interesting question. She said,
Sure.
if driving around looking at your houses with your girlfriend, does that make the date tax deductible? The answer is no, but here's what does. I bought an apartment complex with a girlfriend one time. And because we both owned it, and we weren't married, and we both owned ownership, every time we went out to eat or do anything was a business meeting.
Same with all your vacations with her, right?
What's that?
All your vacations.
Vacations were all business trips. We're looking for real estate.
Is this your first fourplex?
No.
Now, this is a fourplex, it's 2-on-2. Have you bought 4 that are on the same ground level?
I haven't yet. Every one I've looked at so far are 2 on 2 atop each other.
I'm just curious if there's additional challenges of doing.
Well, with a 2-story, you're going to have additional challenges if there's foundation issues. That's about it.
Or insurance?
Insurance is oh, that's another cool thing. On my first fourplex, I was paying $1,300 a year for insurance. On this one and my last one, I'm paying about $700 each for insurance. Do you know how it went down so much? Because as you get bigger, you change policies. I had the single family policies. Now I have one big blanket commercial policy that covers everything. So as you grow, your expenses get down as well. There's a million aspects I could teach you on this, why it works as you grow. Even if you have 20 houses, you're going to be getting bigger. Expenses go down. You learn these things. If I could just have every person that uses Rob as a lifestyle contractor going, paint them Dave's colors. Do you know how much headaches he would save? Do you know how much headaches people would save? If they just kept that uniformity, we do it this way every time, you would save money, not all the headaches of visiting and getting all attached to things. You really got to make it a business.
No leftover paint?
Well, yeah. If he goes back and touches up any of my apartments, he knows what color each time. Anything else? See that guy right there in the hat? I had him do it. Yeah.
You're lucky.
Hey. You know,
There's nothing lucky about this. Wash your mouth out with soap. If it were luck, we wouldn't win the National Apartment Association 6 years in a row. It's a system. It's not luck.
Yeah, I learned from Dell right away. When I heard that speech saying, I don't even know anything about my apartments. I never have a even code to get into them. I said, I got to do that somehow. Hey, Rob, come here. So what I did, what's funny is when the appraiser came, I had to go meet her. I didn't have keys to get in any of my units. She wanted to see every unit. I'm like, what do I do? So I had to have Rob come over and actually let her into the unit.
So when I had 40 houses, I hired myself a guy that a superintendent, construction superintendent, could do anything. I bought a van for $3,000. The van was so old and the engine was so bad that we used 4 times too thick oil just so that it would run, right? And the guy had a pager and he took care of all my 40 houses, did everything, and I paid him. And this worked out for years until one day he ran off with one of my tenants' wives. And took the van, you know, and then, but it was a really great thing for a couple of years. Don't be thinking about the van that way.
Yes?
Do you have these houses in LLC?
As you get bigger, you do use LLCs. These, I didn't use an LLC on this one because I put the loan direct to my name. But like my apartment complex, everything that's all an LLC.
This four-plex unit, how old was that? When was it built?
This one's the 1970s. The last one I bought was 1984.
Have you bought outside of San Antonio or considered it at least?
Yeah, I bought my first thing I bought was 29 unit out in Houston. My one I bought further away.
Now, you put tile on these ones. Do you find the tile works better than carpet?
It's just because my idea is to buy and hold, and it'll hold up better. But what I learned is that takes too long. So we just use VCT tile, which is that Armstrong Solarian tile, and that's what I use in everything from now on. But I always find closeouts and I buy stuff cheap, so we threw tile in. But normally we would just put VCT tile in. I just want something durable. I hate carpet. I won't use carpet or anything because it goes bad.
And for this type of clientele, the low-end clientele that would live in a place like this, they prefer a vinyl or a tile themselves because they don't own vacuum cleaners. You understand? They mop everything.
That's
So it's a lot easier to keep it clean.
Yeah, I see a lot of rookie mistakes. People put down like wood floors and they mop it with water and they warp and buckle. So many crazy things you can learn from doing this. That's why you got to be around other members of lifestyles that are actually doing it. Don't listen to people that talk about it. Learn from people that actually are doing it. That's an important fact. Was there one more question over there? Okay, I guess we're
Give
done.
it a hand, folks. You know, I make one